The Pledge of Allegiance we have now is way different than the Pledge of Allegiance that they first came out with. Most of us have said the Pledge of Allegiance at least once in our life. I myself have said the Pledge of Allegiance numerous times when I was in school, up until my freshman year of high school. Then I started doing some research, and I found out that across the United States, the Pledge of Allegiance is slowly starting to become eradicated. This needs to stop. The Pledge of Allegiance should be required and mandated in all schools across the country. The Pledge of Allegiance went through numerous changes. They made it so that it's more relevant to our lives, such as lifting our spirits in a time of war, which is what we're currently going through now. America is at a troubling point in its history. There's a lack of trust between the people and the government. One of the main problems is that the Pledge of Allegiance is being taken out of schools, causing children to lose lack of faith in the government. And this will only continue to become worse. According to a study done by Rasmussen, they found that there's a 50% presidential approval rating, 54 and 50 against. American history is also suffering. There's a lack of connection between students and that part of history, which is the Pledge of Allegiance. In Brian Wheeler's 2008 article entitled "The Pledge of Allegiance in the Classroom and the Court," Wheeler states that the Pledge of Allegiance was 400 years old and was for Christopher Columbus. It was used for a patriotic observance, which was used to commemorate Christopher Columbus for all that he has done for the country. Now that I've talked about the problems, I'm going to talk about the causes. One of the main causes is that as Americans, we don't want to offend anyone else. We want to provide our freedoms that we have in our country and grant them to other people of other countries who come to live in the United States. The Pledge of Allegiance can also mean different things to many people. In Lori Bennett's 2004 article, Classroom Recitation of the Pledge of Allegiance and Its Educational Value, Bennett brings up 9/11. 9/11 was a time in American society that we had to rebuild. It was more of a rebirthing of the United States, and we were looking for new symbols that were actually old symbols. We used the national anthem, the American flag, and the Pledge of Allegiance to unite and come together as one country. There have also been numerous legal cases regarding the Pledge of Allegiance. In Lisa Martin's 2008 article titled "Examining the Pledge of Allegiance," Martin states that lawsuits have failed, especially one in 2002, which was aimed at taking out the term "under God" out of the Pledge of Allegiance. Now, as you can tell, that has failed because we still use the term "under God" in the Pledge of Allegiance today. It's time for a revolution. It's time for Americans to bond together and to overcome this lack of faith and trust that we have for our government. One of the solutions would be to make all schools state the Pledge of Allegiance, which I know would probably be impossible. So therefore, research needs to be done, like I've done some research myself. And as you can see, so all of you guys can see, these schools, this is a map of the country, and the blue represents schools that are required to state the Pledge of Allegiance. The red is the states that are, they give their students the option to state the Pledge of Allegiance. And the yellow is that there's no law regarding the Pledge of Allegiance. And as you can see, South Dakota gives their students the option to say the Pledge of Allegiance. Some schools are starting to reinstitutionalize the Pledge of Allegiance, but are saying that their students could sit down if they do not feel comfortable saying the Pledge of Allegiance. We need to start saying the Pledge of Allegiance to boost our morale. It's a 30-second poem, if you'd say, that makes us come together in the beginning of school. It makes us feel united. As I said before, the Pledge of Allegiance is slowly starting to become eradicated throughout the U.S., and that needs to stop. We need to start bringing it back. One of the main problems is it's being taken out of schools, which are causing younger children to lose that faith in government. And the solution would be to start bringing it back and start implementing it back in today's society. The Pledge of Allegiance was once used to unite us all as a country, and now we've lost that. Let's start saying it again and become a united country.